My first encounter with the social worker was in high school. There was this woman, she was a child development teacher. She worked with the teen parents in the on site daycare, and she supervised what I now know to be college interns. And I was like, she has the best job ever. She does everything, and everybody loves her. I want to be like her. So I inquired further, and I found out she was a social worker. Never knew what a social worker really did. And from that day on, I knew I wanted to be a social worker. So kudos to you, Miss Thompson. I hope you're out there. You've done a wonderful job, and your legacy continues through me.
This is dedicated to this is dedicated to. Well, if you're feeling like I'm feeling, this is dedicated to you.
Social work to me is more than a profession. It's a lifestyle. It's definitely something that takes a lot of work and a lot of courage and a caring heart.
Social work to me is advocating for our clients, empowering our clients, providing assistance for them depending on their environmental stressors, connecting them to resources in order to help them to live a stable life.
Social work to me is having a heart for people and showing selflessness towards
Social
them.
work is lighting a path so that the next person can see what's in front of them that they've never seen before.
Social work to me is an endless possibility of impacting the lives and the community in a positive way, that we can ultimately make a difference for everyone if we just take advantage of the great opportunities the profession allows us to have.
We celebrate Social Work Month. I think that we should revisit the possibilities that not only that we experience as practitioners, but also the possibilities that we sow into the lives of those that we work with.
So the most rewarding thing I find about social work is that we can actually see change as it unfolds. So you can have a person through especially the engagement process and the assessment process for the working with clients or even organizations or communities, that you can say, here's the state of where I'm meeting the person, I'm meeting the client where they're at. And then here is the intervention, or here are the interventions that I'm proposing, and then here's where I intend to be with this client and where the client should be. And that kind of a process to me is very rewarding, because I feel like you can actually see the change unfolding in front of your eyes, whether it's the improved life of a client, an organization functioning better, newer policies being introduced and passed through the government.
One of the things I love most about the social work profession is definitely the core values. These values: service, competency, dignity and worth of a person, importance of human relationships, social justice. These things alone are something that every person, every human can identify with. And these values allow us to be good clinicians, good case managers, good mothers, good sisters, good fathers, good students, because we're able to understand where people are coming from.
Service in social work is being able to provide the resources for my clients so they can be more independent and responsible individuals.
One of the most important aspects of social work is always respecting the dignity and worth of the person, the client, your employees, whatever it may be, because it doesn't matter somebody's socioeconomic status, their education, their income, whatever it may be. Everybody's still a person, they all have feelings, and everybody is worth something. So it's important that you always respect that and you understand that and make sure that you are compassionate and you understand or try to relate to them the best you can and provide them the services that they really need so that you can make a difference in their life.
Competence in social work is taking the initiative to learn as much as you can about where you are in social work, whether it's through education, learning for your own gains, or meeting.
Integrity in social work is something that I've realized is really important because you are dealing with a lot of clients, a lot of sensitive information that it should be kept to yourself.
I think dignity and worth of a person in social work is valuing the person. Everyone deserves to have quality of life, services, justice, and we shouldn't discriminate. We should take every person because they are important.
Social justice is an important component of social work. It primarily assists those who have been ignored by the dominant culture. It helps us to stand up for them. It helps us to give them a voice.
I think that one of the most important aspects of this profession is importance of human relationships. You'll realize no matter how much education or networking you do, it's totally irrelevant if you don't have the understanding or the ability to relate with your clients and your peers. It's really important for people to be able to trust you.
What led me to social work was the fact that when I started doing my undergrad work in psychology, I was told, you'll never get a job in that. I knew that there was something more. It wasn't until years later that I came across a book, a nonfiction book, in which there was an actual conversation between two individuals, and a response to a question was, I was born to serve. That's what led me to social work, because at my core, I know I was born to serve.
What brought me to social work, I just like helping people and giving myself to others.
What led me to social work was, I come from a neighborhood where it's particularly rough growing up. Around me you see a lot of poverty, people on the streets, there's a lot of gang violence, and for me, social work was a way how I could find a way to create services that could impact the lives of people around me. And
so I went into social work because growing up in New Haven, Connecticut, I saw a lot of inequalities. I saw black children, predominantly black children, in neighborhoods where we weren't given the same services or provided with the same type of education. And I always heard people say, you know, this isn't fair, this isn't right. So I wanted to address those issues and those concerns. I just felt like that was something that I needed to do. It was pretty much my purpose.
Relationships and social work play hand in hand in regards to how one will develop their relationships with other people. Do you agree?
I do agree with that. I feel like what happens in childhood affects people in their relationships as adults. And I think that people find themselves in a place as adults where they're dealing with different challenges on how to relate to other people, and social workers are there to help them to understand the reasons why that may have happened, and then to help them to develop a different outlook or a different perspective that may enhance the quality of their life and enhance their well-being.
What actually led me to the social work field was I went into the library, the social work library at Howard University, and it was basically everything on the shelves was everything that I was interested in, encompassed psychology, law, the legal field, and I just realized, it kind of hit me like, wow, social work is everything that I'm ever interested in ever, like, you know, and it would kind of cover that, probably fill that void of not actually going to law school. It would help me expose me to the learning opportunities that I wouldn't have had, you know, by maybe just.
I choose social work. I'll tell you why I chose social work. I chose social work because it allows me the opportunity to help as many people as I want or would like to. And, you know, whether it's the mental health issues, or it's issues surrounding housing, food, financial issues, you know, whatever the problem is, it's something that I've always wanted to help out
The dynamics
with.
of human relationships is that we need one another. If you've ever been in a society where you were only by yourself, you will realize that you would need another person to set off the dynamic for you. That's why it's social, where we learn how to communicate, we learn how to process thoughts, and we learn how to work together.
Perceptions of social workers include things like being someone who only comes to the home to take children away, that we are only child welfare workers. Although there are many people who also have a perception of social workers as being good psychotherapists, as people who are able to do in-depth work with them around their lives and to help them to shape better lives for themselves. Also, many people see us as researchers and professors, and we have great opportunities to do many things.
So there's a perception that social workers only give out food stamps. You know, a lot of people, when they come to me and they ask me what I do, and they'll say, you know, I just want some food stamps. And what I say is, you know, most social workers, licensed social workers, are not giving out food stamps, but we do an array of things.
Social work to me is extremely challenging and unpredictable, but also it is enriching and fulfilling. I'm happy that I'm in this field, and no matter what challenge that I have to face within this field, I look forward to it.
How can we help you today?
I need somewhere to live.
Oh, no problem. How can we help you today?
I need a car for me and my kids.
Okay, no problem.
Hungry. Oh, no problem. How did Jesus do this?
So one of the most difficult parts about social work is being able to help clients the way that they want or expect. Sometimes a client's reality is not, their version of reality is not how we perceive it, or it's not necessarily how we can help them. So you need to find alternative routes to help them. Whereas sometimes their expectations are unrealistic, and having to navigate that and having to show them alternative methods and kind of the baby steps needed to get to where they need to be, it can be really challenging. But I think that working with somebody and understanding their expectations and creating a realistic view of how to help them is usually the best way to approach it.
I was a social worker for Baltimore families. Now I'm a social worker building opportunities for families throughout.
The Code of Ethics, the Social Work Code of Ethics, is a code of ethics that I think elected officials should follow myself.
Social workers go about their work quietly without recognition for the valuable skills and knowledge they bring to solve society's problems. Many social workers are overworked and underpaid, but they are committed to making a difference, and they do it every day of their lives. They are committed to helping others. They are committed to making the world a better place for everyone.
Okay, a wonderful opportunity I've had in the profession is to work with the Wentz Center for Loss and Healing. I do grief and counseling work with individuals. A lot of times I'll do groups for men who've lost their wives to death. One of the things I find most rewarding about that work is I work at the medical examiner's office, where I provide decedent identifications with families. So as families come in to identify their deceased loved ones, I'm available to meet with them. I help to normalize grief reactions, and then we together do the identification of the deceased loved one.
Social work as a profession is something that I truly feel blessed to serve as a social worker because of the countless possibilities. I'm very fortunate being a social work educator because I get to be with students at the bachelor's level.
So, Rashad, what do you think? How does social work really pave the way for change?
I believe that social workers, our goal in life is to help the people who we work with or our community around us. For what I've seen in my community, we've had programs like Team Up to Clean Up the Bronx, where social workers gathered people around us to help clean up the community. And you saw how people were happy. You know, store owners were giving out free drinks to people that helped to clean up the community. And everybody was just happy because nobody really comes around to clean up the streets. And it's not nice walking down the block and you see garbage everywhere. So I like how the social workers created a program that impacted the community in a positive way.
A lot of my friends do a lot of different type of things. I consult and do a lot of trainings and that kind of thing too. So I think that, I'm not sure what people think about social workers now, but I know when I first became a social worker, it was either you were a clinical social worker or you did economic development. But now you have social workers who have dual degrees with, you can get a master's degree in social work with an architectural degree, or you can become a lawyer, work in the courts with a social work degree. So there are some social workers who have dual degrees, and you have some social workers who also work within a court system and who are also in the military too. So that's out of the scope, I think, what also in addition to what people may think social workers do. You have a lot of social workers who teach in college and helping.
When I chose social work, I wasn't aware of all of the possibilities that were in this field. It's really amazing. Sometimes it's kind of paralyzing because you can do so many things. So it's like you're so excited. What route should you take? But it's also a sense of security because you know that there's always something that you can do and so many different things that you can learn and ways to help people.
For my lifetime in the profession, I've been a social worker for more than 30 years. I have done a lot of different things in the profession, which I love. Actually, everything I've done, I enjoy. So I've been a psychotherapist. I've run a mental health clinic. Mental health is my primary area of focus, with a lot of work in the area of trauma. Work with the Brentwood postal workers who were exposed to anthrax, and that was one of the most rewarding things that I've done to help those people who experienced the trauma of anthrax to overcome that. A lot of the work I've done certainly has been at the university level. I've been teaching at the master's degree in social work for 20 years now, at least.
Well, there are a lot of possibilities in social work. For instance, I do run a private practice, which allows me to tap into my business side. And with that, I have the flexibility. I have the ability to be more creative because I am running my own practice. The old, I guess, myth that social workers are poor or have to be poor, that doesn't apply because, again, I can be creative in terms of how much I want my business to grow in the area of private practice. The internship program here at the Health and Wellness Source has enabled me as a clinician to help launch our up-and-coming social workers into the social work field in the 21st century. And when I say that, I mean I'm hopefully able to expose them to the many possibilities of social work and in a way that they really never thought about in the first place. So what this helps me, what I get out of it, is helping them to actually tap into the different areas, the different markets of social work and the business of social work, and to help them make an informed decision in terms of which way they want to go.
I love social work, you better believe it. Peace.